Okay. Okay, so we will continue where we left off on Friday, and we looked at components on Friday, and we saw that a component is a piece of the website. When you look at the website and you see the different parts of a website, you see that those different parts can be components. And you as a developer decide which parts of the website should be components. And looked at an example. We looked at Blocket's website, and you can see this. You can see a similar structure in many websites, where you can see that. Let's look at two examples, just so you can see the similarities. There are a few similarities, but they are there in almost all the websites. So I will share my screen. I will look. We will look at Blocket, and we will look at hm.com. And yeah, here you have to have a choose. We have to choose a country. So just a few similarities about the about website design, graphical design. Things that are there almost all 99% of the time, I would say. So here we have two websites, and all websites have something called a header. And we can see here on Blocket we have this first area or section with the white background. It has the logo. It has a menu that is not working here for me, but it's a categories menu, as you can see. There you have a button, and you have some more, and you have another menu with menu items. So this is a header. And H&M also has a header, which is this one here. Also white background. They have the logo in the middle instead. In Blocket, they have it to the left. Here they have it in the middle. And they have the categories here. And another menu here. And another menu here. So both websites have a header. Next, on Blockget, you have this main image here, that where they show their main thing for the moment. And at the moment, it is at Blockget is buying Christmas presents. So that is their campaign for the moment. This is what they want people to focus on. And they also have this search form where you can search for products. And it is a big, it's a big area. It's a large image here with some information. And to the right and to the left, we have the search form. And notice that notice the line that goes here from Blockget down at the search form and down here to the left. There is a limit here. Even though the red area here is as wide as the screen, so the red goes all the way to the left here and all the way to the right, the information is limited here with a line, with an invisible line, and also on the right side. So this is also part of the graphical design. But we have this big image here where they have the main campaign that they want to sell at the moment. This is Blockget, and at H&M they have this. Here they have winter clothes, so that you can buy warm clothes. Also a large image with a button where you can go with some information, and a button where you can go to where you can buy these products. So in both cases, you have these similar you have header and you have a main area where you have your main campaign. And this section is sometimes called hero. This is the hero of the website. And then I saw another similar. This is the header is almost always there. What comes after the header can be different, but the header is there 99% of the time, or 99.9% of the time. Here, because both sites are e-commerce sites, I think it's natural that they have this hero area where they put their main products that they want to sell at the moment. And then I saw another similarity here. You have this menu. You have it in H&M, and you have the same in Blockget. You see they have these menus. Here at Blockget, it's more items. Graphics. It's the images are created, while here they are real photos. But in both cases, you have a picture, a name, and the whole thing is a link. So you can click anywhere. You can click either on the picture or the name, or just around the name where in the white area. That is also a link. And it will take you to this section. And it's the same here. So, but so the header, in both cases, the header can be a component in React. This whole area can be one component, and then it can contain other components inside itself. This hero area can be one component, just like at Blockget. This can be one component in React. Here, these menu items, the round image with text can be components of their own. So here you can create one component for one item, and then you reuse that component for every every item here. And then last, we have at the bottom, we have a footer. And this is the footer here. And in footer, you have different menus. And mostly it's information, as you can see here, Kunstsäkerhet, blocketpaket, villkor, företag, visa alla butiker, Blocket, on Blocket, jobba för Blocket, kontakta oss. And you have the footer at H&M too. And here you have the menus, the shopping menus, företagsinformation, hjälp, domäner. So this is the footer of H&M. This is the footer of Blocket. And this you will see also, like I said, in 99.9% of the websites have a footer. So the footer can be another component in React. And this is the way that the website is created today. So if you want to create the website from scratch, if you want to design it graphically, then these parts should be in it. Because by now people are very used to seeing this structure. So these are the things that you can make components of. And we looked at components on Friday, and I opened this page here. And what we did was we created function components. We created the component hello. We created another component called good morning, and a third component called good afternoon. And then in the fourth component that we called greetings, we put all the other components inside this component, and then we rendered the component called greetings. So we put the component called greetings on the screen, and then greetings put all the other components on the screen. So we rendered these three components, hello, good morning, and good afternoon. We rendered them by putting them into a fourth component, and then we rendered the fourth component. And this is how all the components ended up on the screen. So today we are going to look at something called props. Which stands for properties. And props allow us to put information into a component. So that in this case, if you look at the component good morning, for example, it puts the text good morning class on the screen. that we can see here. And it does it every time. Every time we use good morning, it will print this text. And a component that always prints the same text is not very useful, because information changes and we want to show those changes on the screen. So we need a way to print kind of a variable here instead of a fixed line. We want to print a variable that we can change. So if the information of the website changes, we can write the new information to the screen. And for that, we use props. And props is, like I said, it stands for properties, and it allows us to send information into a component. So it's like a door into a component so that we can change the information inside the component. And the data is always sent from the parent component to the child component. Data. Parent component to the child. So the data only moves in one direction. So in code, this means that here in this case, we can here we have greetings is a parent component, and hello, good morning, and good afternoon are child components. So here we can greetings can send information into these components. And I will write the code for how this is done, and afterwards we will take a look at how it works. So here we are in greetings, and we want to pass some data to the hello component. And we do this by creating an attribute. And you have seen attributes in HTML. For example, an element can have the attribute ID, and the ID can have the value main afternoon or whatever. So this way, this div becomes a unique div because it has the ID with the value main afternoon, and this way you can work with it. You can always find this div based on this value. So this is the attribute is called ID in this case, and ID is part of HTML, so it's built into HTML. In our case, with props, we will make up an attribute. It's like a variable. We will give it a name, and let's call it input. This one, and input will get the value hello from props. So just like, I'll put that back, the ID, so you can see that the structure is the same. You have here we have an attribute ID. Here the attribute is input, and we have the equal sign, which is the assignment sign. So we will assign the attribute a value, and the value here is main afternoon, and here it is hello from props. And the difference is that ID is built into HTML, but input is something that we made up. However, React will recognize this word input as an attribute that props can use. So we want to put this information into the hello component. So with the hello, no, let's, sorry. No, let's do this. Let's continue here. Here, I have to, in the hello function, I have to put props as a parameter. So now this function takes one argument, and it is props. And props is an object. You will see soon that it behaves like an object, a JavaScript object. And it is recognized by React. So when React sees this, it will know what we mean. So instead of typing, instead of printing hello from the first function component every time we render this component, we will render props.input. So we can see that input is the attribute that we created here. And when we create an attribute like this, the name of the attribute goes into the props object. And then you can call the value of it by typing it like this, props dot, and then the name of the variable. So let's see the result of this. I will save the file and I will reload the page, and we get props.input. So instead of getting the value that we wanted, which is hello from props, we replaced the text. So before here we had the text hello from the first function component, and that was text. And now we replaced that with other text. So we replaced it with props.input. And this is still just normal text. That is why it is printed out like this. So here we have to make a change in the code, because props.input is not text. It's JavaScript. This is a JavaScript. It's a JavaScript object. So we have to tell React that this is JavaScript, because here, if you look at the good morning, we see that inside the paragraph tag, inside the P tag, we have normal text. We are printing normal text. So this is what is expected. It is here, and this is JSX code. So in this JSX code, between the HTML tags, we are expecting text. So if we just write props.input like this, it will be interpreted as text. But we want React to know that this is JavaScript. And in order to do that, we put curly brackets around it, like this. So now if this is no longer text, this is now JavaScript code. And if I reload the page, we get the value, hello from props. So now hello is no longer printing the same thing every time. Instead, it is printing what it sent in via the input value. So if we change this value, hello from props, hello has changed to how are you? Then the hello component is going to print that value. And you can see here that the information goes from the parent to the child. And we can do it again for good morning. Here I can just name I would just name the attribute X, just to demonstrate that it can be anything. It's a variable basically. And we will pass in what a nice morning. So now we are dealing with the good morning component. And so that means that in the good morning function, we have to put in the argument props, and then we replace the text with props.x, as we named the attribute x. And to make sure and to tell React that this is JavaScript and not text, we put the curly brackets around it. Like this. And then I reload the page and we get what a nice morning. So this way the components become more dynamic. They are not static anymore. They don't print the same text every time, but we can pass information into them so that the information of the website can be updated. And now we will look at another example where we can see how you can reuse one component. And I will start a new file, and I will do that by copying this entire file. I select everything with Control A. I copy with Control C. I open a new file, I paste it in, and then I save it as X. Number 21, index 2. Like this. And then I will remove the stuff that I no longer need. So I don't want these components anymore. and I don't want create element function either. So we will create a component that is used to display a product, and we will reuse it to display more than one product. So let's start by creating the product component. So that will be a function component. Let product, and that is assigned an arrow function, and it will return the information about the product. So since we saw that if a component can only return one tag. So let's create that tag and let's make it a div. Or no, let's make it a span. Doesn't make much difference right now, but let's just use a span. So this product component will return this span tag, and then all the rest of the information will be inside these tags. So in this product, we will have an image, and that image will be, I just happen to have an image here, and we will use an image from the internet, and this let's see that it still works. Yes, this is the image we will use. I will paste this into the chat so that you can have it if you want to follow along. And so this will be source, and I paste in the URL to the image. Next, we will have another span. And this will have the product name. So this will be blue jacket. And then let's use a span again, and this will be the price, and the price will be 5,999 kroners. So we have, yes, we have everything we need. Let's render this product and see that it works. I'm going to render this. This is one product. Let's see what it looks like. Like that. So it's not the best looking design, but like I said on Friday, we're not going to look at the design that much now because we don't want to get stuck on that. We are going to look at the functionality. So we have an image, we have the name, and then we have the price. So now what we want to do is we want to reuse the product component and show more products. But of course, we can't show the same product over and over because that's useless. So we will use props to add the information that we want to add to the products. So we are going to create a new component which will render all these products. So let's create a component called all products. This is assigned an arrow function to, and let's say that this turn this will return one div like this, and inside the div it will return two product components. And like this. So now we are printing the same product twice, and we will render all products. So let's look at what this looks like. And now we have two products. The both are the same. So, but we are reusing the product component, and we can use props to make changes to it. So instead of just displaying the same thing over and over, we will use props to change what is displayed. So we will use first, we will give we will add attributes to these components. So let's start with image URL. And that will have the value of this URL here. And to make this more readable, we will write every component on a line of its own. So there we have image URL. We have product name, and here it will be blue jacket, and we have product, and that will be 5,900 kroners. And now we can make the changes here in the product component. So here we add props as a parameter, and we replace this data with the data from props. So we remove the URL, and inside curly brackets we add props dot image URL, and instead of blue jacket we will write props product name, and instead of the price we will have props dot product price. So now if I save the page and I reload the I save the file and I reload the page, and we will get one product with the same information that we had before, and the other one disappeared because this one doesn't have any. Now the component expects to have this information. It expects to have these properties, and this one doesn't have them, so it is not displayed. Let's look at the console. There is no error either, so it is just not, the product is simply, the component is simply not displayed. So let's fix that. Let's use the image URL. And here we will use the same image because I don't have another one at the moment. So let's just, this is just a placeholder image, as it is called. It is just an image to show the place where the image goes. So product name is, let's say, the socks, and product price is 399 kroners. So now we have the required properties for the second product too. And let's reload the page. And there we have the same image, but the information is green socks and the price is 399 kroners. So here we can reuse the component because, just like we saw with Blocket, with this menu here, the items are all the same. So you can use the same component here. And the same goes if we go to H&M. Let's go to Stickare Tröjor. You see here that we have a grid layout, but every item in the grid layout has the same information. It has the image and some information here with the name, the price, colors, and stuff like that. So if you have this kind of layout where you have a lot of similar sections, then you create one component and you reuse it. And you just change the information inside the component. So this product component can be reused for as many as many times as you need. And let's see how many times H&M, how many products they are showing. I think it says, yeah, these are 36 products. So in this case, if you would be working on this website, you would use the product component 36 times. So this is one of the big advantages of React. This is what I had in mind for this morning. This afternoon we will continue, or we will not, we will look at something new. We will look at something called hooks, and we will look at something called the state hook. And the state is the memory of a component. And you will see how that works this afternoon. At 1 o'clock, are there any questions about this?
Ernst, can you just show us the another file which you have copied? I mean those comments. I just wanted to see those comments. Yeah, this one. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's it for this time. I will stop sharing the screen now and I will upload the files. I will upload these two files to Teams right now. More questions? Does anybody like React so far? Is anybody thinking that they will use it in their final project? Dana, yes, perfect. One. Sajid will also use it. That is good to hear. Hadi is protesting. Carl. Good. Lenny. Good, good, good. Very good. Very good. Okay, good. What you will, yeah, after this, you will be looking at something called API with Mats. We will have React tomorrow too, and I think the day after that, Mats will start with API, and then you will learn the other side of React, so that you will have React on the front end, and you will have an API on the back end. So that you will look at that later this week, and then you will see how the two are connected. Are we going to use React.js in the final project? It's up to you. The final project is, you decide what the final project is. You will have to write a short description. So you have to come up with the project. You will have to write a short description of what you want to do, and then you will send it to us. And then we will look at it, and what we want to see is that the project is big enough so that your project is not too easy, not too simple. And you can collaborate, you can form groups, or you can do it on your own. And even if you do it on your own, you can still collaborate, you can still help each other. So you can still talk to each other, ask each other questions, help each other, give each other tips and advice. So it's up to you. You can use React, or you can use or you can use an ordinary web page, which we will also look at, I think, next week. So it's up to you. And what we will look at in the final project, we will not look at what the project is about, the topic of the project, if it's movies, or if it's e-commerce, or if it's football results, or whatever you want. We will look at the complexity of the structure, so that the database is complex enough, so that you will need at least 2 tables in the database with some kind of connection between them. Yes, Hadi is raising his hand, I think.
Good morning. I just want to ask you about the template in the Visual Studio. This React template that comes with MVC.NET. But I saw it yesterday, but it's very bloated with many things. Is there an easy way to have a clean React included in the .NET template without all the bloating and stuff that comes with it?
You can create a React project in Visual Studio.
Yeah, but then it have to be separate. I mean, if I want them to make them in one package, like the templates that exist in Visual Studio, there's a React MVC, like they made them together in one solution. So I know how to do it separately, but it is still nice to make it in one solution. So I couldn't find anything much about it on the internet to make it in one solution. It wasn't that easy.
So do you mean if you do it in Visual Studio, Visual Studio will create an example project for you, and it contains an example with weather data?
Yeah, exactly. It comes with the username and stuff like they've done a lot of job for me on the Studio one template.
Yeah.
It's a good template, but they use a lot of stuff. They use React and jQuery at the same time, and a lot of other stuff.
Yes, but either
and it's not good. But from what I know, it's not good to use React and jQuery and all that together, because it becomes too big.
Yeah. Well, I will try to answer your question.
Okay.
If you make a React app, you will create 2 parts either way. So you will have React on the front end, and you will have the web API on the other end, on the server. And those 2 things don't really belong together. They are not one solution. They are 2 separate things that are communicating with each other.
Yeah.
Because when you make an API, when you make a web API, it is expected when you have a web API that it's expected that almost anybody can use it, so that anybody can So you have a web API on the server.
Applications. Yes.
Yes, and then somebody will have a React application and we will work with it. Somebody else will have a website, an ordinary website, or a not React website.
Desktop app application.
Yeah, a desktop. Somebody will have a phone app that will work with your API. So it's two different things. So it's not really the same solution. So it's two independent things that are working together and communicating with each other.
Yeah, but I saw actually a template. They have a template on Studio. That's why I was wondering. I know it's separate, but they have it's a good template, but it's a lot bloated with many stuff.
Yeah.
But I understand. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Better to separate them and have each one in GitHub. I was thinking to make them all in one GitHub repository. It doesn't work like this. It does, but it's not easy.
There are also some people. They did it. They used Node. They used Node.js to create a React app, and then and then they used the .NET Visual Studio to create the web API. So
that's what I'm thinking to do, because that's how you use React. People don't use it with CDN usually.
Yes. So that is also then they are completely separate. They have nothing to do with each other. So yeah, you can do it that way. And basically that is what it's two applications. Victor, when it comes to the two tables, just think of as the mini project 2. So when you think about the complexity of the final project, you can start with the complexity of mini project 2, because there you had many different models. You had products, you had categories, you had cities, and you could even divide it more if you want. So you can have that as a minimum. But Mats will talk about this more. So we still have, after the React course, we still have 2 other topics that we have to go through before we come to the final project. So you have plenty of time to ask more questions about it, and Mats will also talk about it. But yeah, the thing we will look for is that it's not too simple. So it will not be okay to just have one table in the project, because we have to see we want to see that complexity, that you can handle the data in the database. And that part, I can tell you already now, the things that you did in mini project 2, you will do the exact same things in the final project. The difference will be that instead of showing the data in the console, like you did in the console app, you will show the data on a web page. So that is what is added. But as far as entity framework goes, entity framework and the database and the tables and the models will be the same. And what will be added is that the presentation will be on the web, the presentation of the data. Where can we host the app? Yeah, that is, we can't help you with that. There is a website called, I think it's called Azure Websites. I'm not sure, but I think it's azurewebsites.net. I wrote it in the chat. If it's not that, then it's something similar. And I think you can create a free account there, a small account, and you might be able to host your application there. If you want to, there is a web host called simply.com where you can host .NET applications. That costs a little money. I think the cheapest account is 600 kroners for a year.
Do we need to use all the different types? We go through MVC, etc., etc. Will we be forced to use that in the project as well, or we can stick to React and something else, APIs?
We will go through MVC, and of course, you are not forced to use MVC, but I think it is the easiest option. So even when you create an API, you can still use the MVC structure. So I don't see a reason why you shouldn't, because you will have to have, in my opinion, it is very easy to work with. And because it allows you to make the CRUD create, read, update, delete. It allows you can have one function for each of these four operations, and I think it makes it very easy. So you just have four functions for these four operations, and you can get a lot done with them. But of course, you are not forced to use it. But in my opinion, it is the easiest and the most clear. It's very, the structure of the code becomes very easy to overlook, or not to overlook, but to, det är väldigt tydligt. Koden blir väldigt tydlig. It's a very clear code, in my opinion. So yeah, but you are not forced to use it. But you will have MVC. I think MVC, we will go through MVC next week. So then you can see more clearly what it is. But it has to be, the final project has to be a web project. So it has to be either a website or an API with some sort of front end. So it must be a web project. And we will look, you will see when Matt starts, the API lecture on Wednesday, I think, then you will see that you will not use, you will see that you need the server part, the code that you write on the server, and what is shown on the screen on the browser are two separate things that communicate with each other. And you will see that it doesn't have to be on the front-end side. You don't have to have React or Vue or Angular or some other framework. You can use just plain JavaScript. So you can do that if you want in your final project. If you want to use an API on the server, you are not forced to use a framework on the front end. You can just use JavaScript. So you can just use JavaScript, HTML, and CSS, and you can still communicate with an API. So that is another option. Because you will see that when you get the data in the front end, you will send a request to the API to get data, and that request is sent with pure JavaScript. Okay. I think that all the questions have been asked. So thank you for now. And we look at state in React at 1 o'clock.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.